The 5th of May, a date etched into the fabric of destiny itself. What is it about this single rotation of our planet that produces such extraordinary talent? A voice that can shatter hearts and top charts across the globe. A man who became the embodiment of a superhero, convincing millions he could actually fly. And a tennis prodigy who stormed the courts, dethroning legends before he could even legally drink in America. 3 different worlds. 3 unstoppable forces. 1 shared beginning. Is it mere coincidence, or is there something hidden in the stars of this spring day that we're only beginning to understand? In the quiet suburbs of Tottenham, North London, a voice was being shaped by heartbreak, soul music, and the kind of raw honesty that would one day move millions to tears. Adele Laurie Blue Adkins came into the world in 1988, raised by a young single mother who filled their modest home with the sounds of Ella Fitzgerald, Etta James, and the Spice Girls. It was an unlikely combination that would forge something extraordinary. At just 16, Adele posted 3 songs on MySpace, a decision that seems almost quaint now, yet it would alter the course of popular music forever. A record executive stumbled upon her demos, and within months, this teenager from North London had signed her first recording contract. Her debut album, simply titled 19 after her age when she wrote it, introduced the world to a voice that seemed to carry generations of heartache within it. But it was her second album that would transform her from a promising artist into a global phenomenon. 21 arrived in 2011 like a thunderclap. Born from the ashes of a devastating breakup, it became the soundtrack to heartbreak for an entire generation. Songs like Rolling in the Deep and Someone Like You didn't just top charts, they dominated them, holding positions for weeks that stretched into months. The album sold over 30 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling albums in recorded history. What sets Adele apart is not merely her 4-octave vocal range or her ability to hold a note until it breaks your heart. It is her devastating honesty. She writes about love and loss with the kind of vulnerability that makes listeners feel less alone in their own pain. When she sings about regret, about longing, about the person who got away, she speaks a universal language that transcends borders and generations. Her perfectionism has meant fewer albums than many of her contemporaries, yet each release becomes a cultural event. 25 brought us Hello, a song so powerful it broke streaming records within hours of its release. 30 continued this tradition, proving that even global superstardom cannot diminish the intimate power of her storytelling. She has won 16 Grammy Awards, an Oscar, and countless other accolades. But perhaps her greatest achievement is simpler than any trophy. She has reminded us that in an age of auto-tune and manufactured pop, there is still nothing more powerful than a single voice, singing the truth. Today, at 38, Adele stands as proof that authenticity never goes out of style. From a council flat in Tottenham to stadiums filled with tens of thousands singing her words back to her, she remains exactly what she has always been, a girl with a voice and stories to tell. Born on the sun-drenched island of Jersey in 1983, Henry William Dalglish Cavill entered the world as the 4th of 5 brothers, a childhood that would forge in him both resilience and an unshakable sense of determination. Yet few who knew the young boy with dreams larger than his small island home could have predicted the extraordinary journey that lay ahead. As a student at the prestigious Stowe School in Buckinghamshire, Cavill was not the athlete one might expect from looking at him today. He was, by his own admission, rather chubby, earning the unfortunate nickname Fat Cavill from his peers. But within that young man burned an ambition that no amount of schoolyard teasing could extinguish. He found solace in storytelling, in the magic of cinema, and in the dream of one day becoming someone else entirely on screen. His path to stardom was neither swift nor easy. For years, Cavill became known in Hollywood circles as the unluckiest man in the industry. He came tantalizingly close to landing the role of James Bond, losing out to Daniel Craig. He was nearly cast as Superman in a previous incarnation, and the role of Edward Cullen in Twilight slipped through his fingers. Lesser souls might have surrendered to despair. Cavill simply worked harder. And then, in 2013, everything changed. Zack Snyder's Man of Steel finally gave the world what it had been waiting for without knowing it, a Superman for a new generation. Cavill donned the iconic cape with a gravitas and vulnerability that reminded audiences why they had fallen in love with the character in the first place. Here was Clark Kent as he was always meant to be, powerful yet gentle, otherworldly yet deeply human. But Cavill refused to be defined by a single role. His portrayal of Geralt of Rivia in Netflix's The Witcher revealed an actor of remarkable range, a man who understood that true strength lies not in muscles but in emotional depth. His passion for the source material was evident in every frame, every carefully delivered line of dialogue. Beyond the screen, Cavill has become something of a renaissance man for the modern age. An avid gamer, a devoted dog father to his beloved Cal, and a man who speaks openly about his struggles with self-doubt, he has shown that heroes need not be invincible to be inspiring. Today, as Henry Cavill continues to evolve as both artist and human being, we are reminded that the greatest stories are not those of overnight success, but of perseverance, of dreams held close through years of rejection, and of the quiet courage in the sun-drenched courts of El Palmar, a small village in the Murcia region of Spain, a boy no older than 4 years old picked up a tennis racket for the first time. He could barely see over the net. But something in the way he moved, the way his eyes followed the ball, told a story that was only just beginning to be written. Carlos Alcaraz Garcia was born on the 5th of May, 2003, into a family where tennis was not merely a sport but a language spoken across generations. His father, Carlos Sr., had been a professional player himself. And so the young Carlos grew up with the rhythm of tennis in his blood, the sound of ball meeting strings as familiar as a lullaby. By the age of 15, he had turned professional. By 18, he had won his first ATP title. And then, in September of 2022, at just 19 years old, Carlos Alcaraz did what few had ever done before. He won the US Open, becoming the youngest male player to reach the #1 ranking in the history of professional tennis. But numbers alone cannot capture the magic of watching him play. There is a joy in his movement, an almost childlike delight mixed with the ferocity of a competitor who refuses to surrender a single point. He chases down impossible shots. He produces moments of brilliance that leave even his opponents shaking their heads in disbelief. Tennis legends have spoken of him with reverence, drawing comparisons to the greatest players the sport has ever known. Yet what makes Carlos truly remarkable is not simply his talent. It is his humility. In victory, he remains gracious. In defeat, he finds lessons rather than excuses. He carries the hopes of Spanish tennis on shoulders still so young, yet he bears that weight with a maturity far beyond his years. The rivalry that has emerged between him and the young Italian Jannik Sinner has already given fans unforgettable encounters, matches that will be remembered for decades. Two players, born just 16 months apart, pushing each other to new heights, writing a new chapter in the history of their sport. And now, as we look upon Carlos Alcaraz at 23, with multiple Grand Slam titles already secured, we are witnessing not the peak of a career but perhaps only its opening movement. The boy from El Palmar who once could barely see over the net now stands tall among giants. And the most thrilling. Thanks for joining us as we explored the incredible journeys of Adele, Henry Cavill, and Carlos Alcaraz. 3 very different paths, but each one showing us what happens when talent meets dedication. Now we want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us which of these 3 do you think has been the most influential, and why. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button and subscribe so you never